Hello everyone, Silver here, and PoE 2 Early Access is almost a month old since its release, and I wanted to share a few thoughts, do a quick recap, and provide some feedback. First off, I believe that the game had a fantastic start, a massive influx of players joined, the gameplay feels smooth, and you can tell, like a lot of love and dedication went into the creation of this game. And despite it being less than a month since its launch, the community has shown a lot of excitement, positivity, and love with the game as well in Retribution. You know, like people have already beaten all the game content, which is amazing. DGG has deleted at least two of Jungle Rowan's build, I guess, two or three. Fubgun is pulling off insane magic finds, farms, um, Empyrean as well with team plays and everything. Um, and you have already no hit runs being completed in the Sekima's trial, which is, I mean, quite insane. You know how long and annoying is to do that? How much concentration is required to do the Sekima's trial? Come on, like it's a huge achievement. But yet, no one has reached level 100. And the Resurrect 2 is probably the guy that's closest from it. Like last time I checked the ladder, it was the guy that was closest from reaching the level 100. So keep going, man. I believe you can do this before New Year. And well, of course, there are some issues in the game. It's an early access, it's obvious. You have crashes, you have bugs, you have other stuff that needs to be addressed. But, well, we'll be talking a bit about this stuff. For now, I just want to keep focused on my first impressions on the game in the sense of how it felt for me going through the first time on Act 1 to Act 3 Cruel. And I started with the mercenary. You know, I made a witch hunter, which is basically the class that my vibe, matched better in the start. I I tried both WSD and point and click counter styles, and right now I'm sticking with WSD. I love it. It's smooth. I feel it plays good regardless of the class, and it felt quite easy for me. Like I don't know if it was because I had played other games that had that sort of control style in the past, like Hades and No Rest for the Wicked, but WSD is great. I'm not going to break down here every act, item, or boss, but I can say this: like, even the simplest white mobs in the game feel more engaging, than most monsters I have encountered in D4. You know, like every single one of them. Early on, even the minor item upgrades, I felt like they could bring massive changes that, justifies the use of the vendors. They actually the items that you can buy from the vendors, they actually help. You know, in the beginning, um, I felt like it was greatly improving my leveling experience having the access to that. And each zone in the game is, you can see that the map design is thoughtfully connected, it makes the navigation almost seamless. You know, you can notice that the environment around it guides you to the next zone, and how you can approach, and how you have points of reference to easily go from place to another. And you notice that better whenever you go through more and more he runs on the leveling. Maybe on the first time it doesn't make sense, but after you do other runs, that's noticeable. And the boss fights in this game, man, they are pure cinema. They really nailed on the boss fights here, and mainly on the actual end and the boss right. No, I can say that. And the boss acts fights. Um, they are those fights, they are amazing. They're beautiful. They have some context, you know, and they are brutal. They are. I can say that some are just as hard, but I can say that they are brutal. You know, they require attention. They require you to just not stay there hitting with a stick. You know, the guy, you need to dodge. You need to respect the attacks. Otherwise, you stay there for a little while. And then during my first playthrough on the three acts, I found myself exploring every corner. Uh, the layouts, they are colossal. I can say that for sure. But once you know the maps and you understand where to go, the size of the map becomes more manageable. Like you don't feel like you are lost on a in a Earthern Kingdom map. You know, like it's way more manageable. And for that, from a matter of perspective, I can say that my first run, it took around 20 hours. You know, but and this was from Act 1 to 3. And but by the time when I got the cruel difficulty, I completed, I believe that from 1 to 3, I completed the cruel difficulty in around 8 to 9 hours. You see, like, it dropped drastically to the half of the time already. And I understand that it feels too big in the first run, but I respect the artistic side of it and how the environment feels essential for the storytelling and driving the exploration. And for me, that's basically some sort of testament and um, proof of the talents of the design team on the game. So I can't wait to see the acts 4, 5, and 6. That's it. Like the game's proving to be magically well built. So yeah. Uh, moving on. Like I don't want to stick here for long. Talking about the ascendancies, I have some criticism about it. I believe everybody has. So let's talk about it. I keep I try to keep it this brief and say that on the Sekima trial, I don't think that there should be 8 rooms, at least not on every floor. Okay, not on every floor at least. Something like 4688 or 6x88 could work way better. If they think that that's not a good idea, not ideal, I still believe that the size, the amount of rooms per floor should at least be related to the level of the gene barriers. You know, the item that we use to enter the trials. So let's say that you have a 75, which is the minimum level for having the access to the 4 floors and finally fighting Zarok. Okay, then on the 75 it will be 80 rooms per floor. You know, because then you're going for the great challenge, you're going for the uber boss. But I mean, you were looking for your first ascendancy. You know, you were looking for the first ascendancy. I don't feel like the ascendancies give you so much power that rewards you enough to justify going through 8 rooms. Okay. Um. Also, I I don't feel that I don't feel like the trial of Sekima right now is on a right spot. And the same, I mean, the requirements to beat this kind of uber boss to lock the 4th ascendancy is, I don't know, it's not absurd, but they should think this better because Zarak has, I don't know, have 20 times more HP than the other bosses. Like, it's weird because the first boss feels hard the giant rock that create volcanic fissures all around even more before the patch notes, because the volcanic fissures would last 12 seconds and then he would cover the whole arena with volcanic fissures. If you are a melee, you're done, and if you were ranged, it was not much different as well. Anyway, because the whole room was covered. But well, at least that part they fixed it. Now the arena is way better, but still, the first boss is too hard. The second boss, I believe that's because you already have been through some power up. It's way more manageable. You have more skills, you have more items, you have a better build already. And then finally, the third boss, which is the Scorpion. The Scorpion is the easiest boss of them all. Like, the Scorpion should be the first boss, the Rock should be the second boss, and the Twin Guys should be the third boss. Because the Scorpion is too easy. And then you have Zarek. That makes all these three bosses look like a joke and have 20 times more HP, and it's annoying to find him. So, in the other hand, you have the Trial of Chaos. That also is not much better. That's a lot of RNG involved. And I have to say that for balancing the Trial of Chaos, it would be good. It would be a good thing to scale the inscribed ultimatums. Something like, it's okay, it's ultimatum, but a way to balance out this would be to basically limit the amount of kinds of debuffs that you have and only have the full pool of debuffs and rune types on the last inscribed ultimatum. Like on the first ones, they should be limited. Like, you should not have monsters always do critical hits on the first Trial of Chaos, It's a lot of RNG, it's annoying. But yeah, I mean, I don't know, maybe it's not maybe this is changed, maybe not. Maybe people get used to it, and from time to time it gets easier, as it always happens. People think that at first time things looks way too hard, and then as times goes by, the player's skill threshold goes up and things start to, something that was hard becomes normal. And then that's what I feel for this part of the Ascendances. And as a side note, I think that it would be really good, and it would be fun to see if whenever people enter on the next league in PoE 1, whenever people enter the trial lab for the first time on the league, they should go to the global chat and type, "Oh, the weary traveler now loves Izaro." Because people talked a lot of shit about the old trials, and then now everybody loves, or everybody not love, but at least miss the old trials. The lab. Everybody is missing the lab now, I'm pretty sure. But yeah, this is the Ascendances situations now, and besides that, at least I can use the Trial of Sekima to farm jewels, because the royal caches drop guaranteed a set of jewels. So, and on the Trial of Chaos, you have the soul cores to farm. Yeah, let's see what happens next. And going to the Atlas, whenever I arrived to the Atlas, for me on the first time, it was absolute amazing to see that design, and keep that in mind that it was infinite. Like, you used to have some sort of simple map structure, and now you have the No Man's Sky star chart. It was huge. And after a few days doing maps, I found out that I didn't like this new way of mapping so much because I have some things I would like to list. The objective for completing the map, hunting rares, it's annoying because to complete the maps, you need to kill all the rares. And sometimes it's frustrating because you can go throughout the map, and let's say that you start here and the map ends here. And imagine that this point to another is a big distance. If you miss the hair monster right here and you finish the map here, you need to go all the way back. Considering that you didn't, you know, open the portal, because you can exit the game, you can go back to the character selection screen, enter the game again, enter in the map, and then you are close back to the start. That's some sort of a trick, like that's a way around to save you some time, but it's annoying. Like I believe that this shouldn't work on this way. I don't think this objective style is good. I don't believe that was the best option. The Orb of Horizons. Not having Orb of Horizons in this game feels so limiting. Sometimes you are forced to repeat layouts that are terrible, like Mire, Seepage, Hidden Grottos, Vault Factories. And if you don't have this, you have two options. Or you go through these maps, you can waste a level 1 tier stone, go through this map, and just pass by it as fast as possible. Or you can find another way. Like you can just ignore this path and go through a totally different way. But in either way, I feel like we should be able to hero the nodes. Like I don't know. I understand whenever they said that they want to create this on a more punishing way and everything, but there is a difference between being punishing and being just annoying, for the sake of being annoying. The sustaining of the wastelands in the beginning is bad, but there's something that is clearly fixed whenever you get higher levels and start doing bosses. The mapped nodes that hold the bosses, they drop way more waystones than normal maps, and that helps you to sustain and progress to higher tiers. So this part is at least just for the beginning. I needed to buy waystones from Doriani, combine, reforge waystones to go to higher tiers, and I don't know, I believe this was part of the game, but it was a bit annoying. Just so I wanted to add this. And the Lost Towers, they feel like, I don't know, it's underwhelming. It's not good to do on the Lost Towers. The Lost Towers reminds me of Pillars of a Room, which is a unique map in PoE1. And I remember that I don't like that map. And doing a tower just for the sake of adding the precursors tab that only have one prefix and one suffix, and you can't re-roll the suffix and prefix, so if you put something bad on it, you have to stick with it. Hopefully and this is something that we'll be talking later, like I believe that they really need the crafting table to come to the game as soon as possible, and orbs of alterations. I miss alterations so much. Like alterations was so good. Would have made my life way easier in PoE2 right now. And I know I have heard that there are people struggling to find citadels. It wasn't my case. Like for me, it has been quite easy to find. They started appearing once I started running waystones of tier 10, consistently. And I have been finding citadels quite regularly. It was not an issue at all. Um, but I don't know. I don't know how the atlas is generated. I don't know if it is like each player from the moment it starts, it has a seed, and this seed already tells you the whole your whole atlas, or if it goes generating at let's say that every 5 nodes that you walk, it generates more 5 nodes, like dynamically. This is something that people will be investigating for now. And other observations, like I believe that after playing with the most of the classes, I believe I played with all the classes right now. Not all ascendants, but all the classes. My ranking on the campaign difficulty to go through, from easiest to hardest, is clearly the witch, the sorcerer, the mercenary, the ranger, the warrior, and the monk. Not surprised, but the melee classes are harder to play early on. That said, the monk has a huge power spike as an invoker later. Builds like Huertus, Pathfinder, Poisonous Concussion, Fub Guns, Lightning Arrow on Deadeye, they're doing great. Those are for the rangers. I feel like the witch is versatile and strong across all the boards. Um, while the gem legionnaire is also a jack of all trades. You see people doing genuine legionnaires for playing even with Hammer of Gods, or playing with casters skills and with ranger abilities. So I believe that Gemlin Legionnaire feels quite solid. It reminds me a bit of the Scion. And the Warrior, well, so far I feel like the Warrior is the one that needs to find his way. It will eventually, I guess. And yeah, but besides all that, I feel like PoE 2, it had an incredible start, and there is clear a lot of work to be done. I'm optimistic about the future, and I'm confident that GTG will make the necessary changes. I hope they understand that their player base enjoys power spikes and working towards builds capable of one-shotting bosses, because they can nerf how many builds they want. People will always find a way to work towards and all breaking the game. I believe that's the magic of PoEs. Since I started playing, this game in PoE 1, the magic of the game for me was this sort of results, this sort of outcomes, and while this shouldn't happen with low investment, I understand that if they feel like, okay, it's not that we don't want you guys to one-shot bosses, but we don't want you guys to one-shot bosses doing zero investment on your builds. The case, it's fair, right? At least from my perspective, it's quite fair. You should invest at least a mirror or 100 divines to find a build that do that. Okay. If that's the goal, I believe, as long as it's there and the player's time is respected, for getting those results, I believe it's fair. And the crafting system, it needs way more tools right now. As the current ending game that we have, it feels a bit rushed. I had a bug, for instance, to say this, that I was killing one of the bosses in the T15s, and suddenly it appeared to me a message like favorite map unlocked, which for me sounds like they got a bit of scripts or reused a bit of code and assets from PoE 1 on PoE 2. So I believe that's something that they are working on, which was confusing because I don't know if we are going to have favorite maps or not. I was like I got hit with a big question mark with from that. And if you asked me whether the game is in its current state, if it could support a league, I would say no. Like, I don't feel like the game. No one's thinking about this, I guess, but I don't think even GGG is considering talking about leagues right now. But I'm just saying this because I feel like there's a lot of core stuff being missed here. Um, there is a lot of adjustments that the tree requires right now. For instance, I feel like on the top side, you have a lot of energy shield nodes, while on the bottom side, you are lacking on life, armor, and evasion nodes. And this is something that makes, like, at least right now in the game, the people that are playing might see this, but um almost all the builds have energy shield as their main layer of defense, which is strange, you know. I believe that should be more, this could be more balanced. Despite all that, I believe that the early access offered a lot of content for months. We still have a lot of good things to experiment, a lot of things to explore and try, and builds to try to make it work. Because, for instance, I don't know, the Acolyte of Shayula for me, for instance, is one of the ascendances that need to have someone with a brilliant mind to make that work, because it feels so, compared to the Invoker, it's so weak, you know. It's so bad, it's so incomplete, it's inconsistent. Yeah, but I hope that we, with the time in the early access, have a lot to explore and to find this and make it all better. And so I would like to leave you guys a reminder to say that all the feedback, it is valuable. You know, all the feedback is acceptable. No feedback is wrong. No feedback is better than the other. It's the fact that feedback is about sharing your perspective. So, and remember, like, feedback is or your perspective about the game. No one can take that from you. If it resonates with more people will address similar matters on their feedbacks, and the game might strongly take the turn you expect. So, I'm just saying this for you guys to, try to not waste your time raging on other people's feedbacks. You know, simply provide yours and see what happens. That's why I believe that having a great community is so good, because you can have all the kinds of opinions on the basket, and it's okay, in agree to disagree. Let's do our part and make sure that the game, when it comes to the 1.0, gets the biggest launch in the game history. If we all love the game that much, I believe that all the feedback is going to be, a strong addition, and will give a lot of strength for the game to reach this best goal and the best interest. And yes, I believe that's all. Like, for all I can say is that I've been playing PoE since 2019, and GGG never disappointed me. Even in Season of Calandra, I believe it was the worst time of PoE since I started playing. It didn't disappoint me. So I want to congratulate GGG and everyone involved in this game, this work. It's amazing. Uh, Congratulate the community. Like, the guys are having fun and sharing a lot of content, doing their takes, providing awesome feedback. This is amazing to see, having the community so engaged, so alive. It's something that is um, good and really healthy for the game. Uh, I believe that the GGG, I hope the GGG is enjoying their break with the family, the friends, and they come back with a lot of energy. Like, they have given us some feast, I can say, some feast of content, and I can't wait to see what these guys are cooking for the next year. Yeah. So I love you all. Stay sane. Peace. Peace, guys. Bye.